the dizzy, but we can always share some disease. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome, guys. That's right. I'm back, and I have another returning guest in the house tonight, Randy Lee Borzlaff, and we're going to be talking about her new book, and it's going to be a different type of book because I did some homework on it, and it's a poetry book. So we're going to talk about some poetry tonight. We're going to be talking about a bunch of other things that she does out there as well. So, and her podcast, all that good stuff. But before we get started, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel or Spotify or all those other podcast apps that are out there, because there's so many to name them. Just give them a quick follow and subscribe, and then share those tea times. If any of these tea times are resonating with you, or you see an author or an organization or service that I have on Tea Time that resonates, or you think it will make a difference, or you'd like them on your platform, be sure to check them out and connect the dots with Miss Liz, and we'll get them all seen and heard. That's my goal in life. So before we get started, we'll do the disclaimer, and then we'll do an intro, and then we'll get Randy in here and we'll spill some tea. And tonight her tea is, let me get it, turbulent, exciting, and joyful. So we're going to be talking about those three words tonight and a lot of other stuff. So let's get started. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live shows. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotional triggering subjects. Listeners and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussions, you are welcome to contact me at my email at bookiemissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Times. By choosing to participate in this comment on or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely volunteer. Miss Liz, myself, is welcoming you to join the conversations with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect those wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Now let me give you a little bit on my guest, and let's get her in here and let's spill some tea. So tonight on Tea Time, I'm delighted to welcome back Randy Lee Borzlaff, an award-winning author, podcast host, and mental health advocate whose voice carries strength, truth, and inspiration. Throughout her work, Randy Lee has shown us the power of resilience, authenticity, and embracing our inner warrior. She joins us this evening to share her journey and her topic through thoughts of a warrior, fighting battles, embracing strength. Get ready for an empowering conversation that reminds us that courage is found in both vulnerability and perseverance. Let's give a heartfelt Tea Time welcome to Randy Lee Borzlaff. Welcome, Randy.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. I need somebody to read for me. I need a little AI robot or something to read for me,
There probably is one.
right? So, Randy, for all my first time listeners out there, can you tell us a little bit about who Randy was as a little girl and who Randy is now?
Oh, I'm the same person. No. Same adjacent, let's say. That's my new favorite saying. It's something adjacent. Um, so, I mean, when I was a little girl, I loved to play with Barbies, very imaginative, and I was still always a writer. I liked climbing trees, getting muddy. And then teenage years, those were a little bit more turbulent. That's one of my words. Um, and then as an adult now, I mean, I've been married for 13 years. Crazy. I've got two kids, I've got a grandson, and I feel like I'm living my best life. Other than the fact my body doesn't agree with that, yeah.
Well, age has something to do with it, right? We start needing that oil there, that WD-40, because we're cracking in places we don't normally crack in, right?
Right? I know it's awful. I had to go and get some needles today, so I'll be adjusting a whole bunch, but I'm here. I wasn't gonna miss it, so.
Well, I like that you threw your first word in there, turbulence. And so you gave me for your T. We're going to jump into your T since you jumped into it right away. So we're
All
going to get
right.
into that T. Turbulence, exciting, and joyful. Why those three words, Randy?
Um, well, when I was trying to think of the words, I was like, well, what kind of encompasses everything? Because it's not all the time exciting and happy. So I had to get that roller coaster word with turbulent. It's just a fun word. And then exciting can go, positive and negative. Not everything that's exciting is a good thing, although sometimes it's good things. So exciting, and then joyful because, like I said, living the best life now.
I like that, because you put the roller coaster in there and it's exciting, and sometimes it's not. It's like, whoa, I don't want to do this one, right? Like,
Right, Kylie.
and that's kind of what mental health is, right? Is that
Mhm.
roller coaster of up and down. So, talk a little bit about mental health and what it means to you.
Oh, it means my life. That's the short version. The longer version is so for myself, I've been dealing with depression for like ever. I like to say probably when I was about 14 years old or so, something like that. And so that whole turbulent up and down roller coaster, like you said, that's been my life. I've been deep down, dark, planning, plotting my demise, and then I've also been good and happy and things. Therapy is a great thing. Medication, if you need it, is a great thing. And so it's played a very big role in my life. And then of course having kids, they have their own issues. My younger one, anxiety, depression, autism, every other thing under the sun. They just keep labeling, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So it's in my house all the time.
Let's talk about labeling, because
Mm. What do
we
you want
get
to
so many
know?
labels, right? Like, we get titles, we get labels, we get diagnosis. Let's talk about labeling.
Oof, labeling. That's such a huge topic that isn't talked about that often because they're like, oh, well, just go and get diagnosed. And it's like a double-edged sword. So, for instance, like with my kid, who is almost 19, might I add, oh my gosh, birthday is next month. Um, when she's little and she needs quotation marks these labels, I was like, my husband and I, we already knew something was different about her. Um, but without having the label, the school's like, we can't do anything. We can't give her any special treatments. You have to get these things done. But when it comes to mental health, when it comes to autism, ADHD, all these other things, it's not like you do a blood test and you're like, okay, that's what you have. Oh, look, your blood came back, you have diabetes, you're low iron, whatever. It's very much in the hands of the doctor assessing. And so the first doctor starts with ADHD, ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder, uh, what other ones were there? Sensory integration. So the first list of there was like 5 diagnoses to start with. But all of those ones, the school looked at and go, oh no, these aren't ones that fall within our realm of what we help with.
Wow.
Okay, sure. I don't even understand. And we keep going to the doctors and stuff, and eventually we land on autism. And I'm like, see, that makes sense because it encompasses everything. Well, now the school can step up and do something. It all depends on what the label is. So getting a label isn't enough. Getting the right label, which I'm not opposed to because there is support out there if you are lucky enough to get that. However, at the same time, you want to make sure that it is the right label, right? And with autism, it's so similar to ADHD that if get the wrong diagnosis, so my kid, they put her on ADHD meds to start. Oh, it was bad. It was so bad because it wasn't the right diagnosis and it wasn't the right medication for that. So, I mean, it's good in a sense because then she started getting support. But then, like I said, it's that double-edged sword because then other people, and you know what? Other people can have their own opinion, but it takes a long time to be okay with who you are and accept that other people can have their own opinion about what they want to think, as long as you're okay with who you are.
Yeah. And it's really sad that the school system is, this is not enough labeling for us to work with this child. Instead of just working with the child without the label, why have we gone to this degree in the education system that we have to have a certain diagnosis before we help a child?
Yeah, so this is my personal opinion, obviously. Everything I say is, but
and that's what Tea Time's all about.
Right?
The disclaimer, right?
Right. But I have zero actual backing for this. It all comes down to funding, right? The school gets X amount of funding and they use it for what they deem is necessary, and they shove the kids into the classes. And let's be real, as human beings, we're not meant to sit for 6 hours a day just absorbing somebody talking at us, but that's what we force them to do. So if you do not fit into the societal box of sit there for 6 hours a day, and I don't even think you need a label to not be able to do that. Just humans as a species, I don't think we're ever created to just sit for 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Then they don't want to deal with it. So they just kind of push you off to the margins. And if you can get a label, they'll bring you over to a separate box. Right? They'll put you over here in this.
Put us all in boxes, right? I don't do well with boxes.
No, no, exactly.
Out of those boxes and let me out of here, like.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like for me, I wrote a story on my mental health years ago, Randy, and I called it the jam labels of jams. Because it depends on the different sugars and content that we're putting in that we're getting all these diagnoses, right? But when you spread them on the bread, doesn't mean that it's a good spread. Like, even after, and it's kind of like what you said, right? Like even when you get the diagnosis and you get the label, it's still not good enough for certain things in life, in society. So Randy, I want to get into your book, and I'm going to pull up your book so you can explain a little bit about the cover, how you got to it, what kind of poetry's in it. Is it deep, dark, scary, all that good stuff? So there you go. Yeah, would you like to share a little bit about your book?
Yeah. So we'll start with the cover because that's what we can see. This is actually, I took this picture. I'm very proud of it. And the reason is that, well, there's quite a few reasons, a lot of meaningful things. So this book is a follow-up to my very first book, Thoughts of a Wanderer. And on that book, which was deep, dark, scary kind of poems, it was a very dark cover, but similar in the sense that it still had this road, but it was a painting of this road going to these dark mountains with hurricanes and this whole thing. Whereas this book is kind of like you've come out the other side, life is up and down, but you know what? We can keep going. We can continue doing good things. That's why it's Thoughts of a Warrior, because it's through the journey. So needed to have that similar road, but it's starting to get brighter. Not everything is in color because not everything is brightness in life, but there is some, and we can keep traveling down that path. So a lot of meaning to that cover for me. And in the book, like you said, it's poetry. Each poem is paired with a nature picture. So yeah, so again, that's why that naturey kind of vibe of the cover is so important, because it matches the insides of the book. So I did already a little bit talk about what the insides of the book were. They're poems about kind of coming through the other side. And I believe that it was last time I was on this show, I don't know how I cannot remember how we ended up on this, but we talked about peer pressure, not pure pressure, if you
Yes, we did.
remember.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yes, we
And
did.
I did write a poem about that, and it's in this book.
Oh, awesome. See? That's why we had to come back, right? We had to have this other tea,
Right?
see if you actually did it.
And I did. I totally, as soon as I said it, we're like, oh, that's a great thing. And I wrote it down, totally in there.
Yeah, you took the keynotes. I remember that. I remember that tea time.
Yep.
So what inspired you to write this poetry book?
So I had been thinking a lot about how I felt like, I mean, as a writer, the more you write, you get better. Just like any job, the more you do it, the better you get. So I had thought a lot about revising my first book, but it didn't quite feel authentic to do that because the first book has a very specific purpose, with those poems being about depression. So I didn't want to ruin what that book was, but it also needed something else. So I had been kind of pondering about it, and then the one day, standing in the kitchen, and my mom mentioned something about the diet I was on. I hate that word, but like I think most people hate that word, and it just got me thinking, because my mom is very, I love my mom, but she's very appearance driven,
Okay.
let's say. And so she said, well, if you guys keep eating pizza all the time, you'll never lose weight. Because, and she knew I was losing weight, and I have like 20 pounds. It's fantastic. Um, but it was the way she said it, and kind of brought me back to when I was younger, and she would say, oh, we got to get something for those zits on your face. I had lots of acne. Calling my feet big boats as a joke, but it's not a joke when you're little and you're self-conscious. So it kind of brought me back to all these little things. So in order to deal with my emotions, as I always have, I wrote a poem. And then I went, this is what the next book is. It's these poems. It's yeah, okay, I'm not necessarily depressed right now, and there's good days and there's bad days, but it's the other side. What else is there in life? What other things are we experiencing? And some of the poems are joyful, and some of them are like, hey, this is a bad day, and that's okay.
Well, that's kind of the roller coaster, right? The turbulence of mental health, right? It's like,
Yeah,
hello, like depression doesn't mean we're sitting around crying our eyes out every day. We could
right?
be working on something and being happy and still be depressed.
Exactly.
There's something that you have on your website that I pulled up, and it says the only way to end the stigma is to speak openly and honestly.
Yes.
I want to talk about that because that statement is like, yes, that's the way we do it. We
Yeah.
have these open, honest conversations and we talk about it. And it doesn't look pretty sometimes. And it does look pretty sometimes.
Right? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That has become my catchphrase. So on my podcast, so the Write or Die Show, write like you're writing something. The very first episode I ever did, I was signing off and it just came out. I hadn't pre-thought about it. I wasn't like I sat down and went, I need a catchphrase. I need an ending. It just felt so natural. And so I was like, oh, that's a cool saying. So then I started saying it at the end of all the episodes. And then I started saying when I would be on other people's shows and they'd be like, hey, do you have anything last to say? I'd be like, I'm going to use my little catchphrase. And so I've started saying it more and more because it is so simple as a statement, so hard to do in reality, but it really is the direction that we need to go.
Yeah. And I love the title of your podcast. Like,
Thank
how
you.
did you come up with that title of your podcast?
I would love to take credit, but it wasn't me. So it was
Somebody
actually
told
my
me to
best
do
friend.
it.
Yeah, it was actually my best friend that came up with the title. I came up with the concept. So I interview other people, very much like you, very conversational. We just kind of let it flow. We talk about mental health and their journeys with that. And so being a writer, what I mean, I still focus on writers, but they're not necessarily always authors. So I've been doing the show now 4 years. At the beginning, I was like, hey, it's authors I'm interviewing. Now I'm like, hey, if you've written anything, you've written a blog, you've written what, I'm open because people have so many good stories to share. And I don't want to just pigeonhole it in because that's not being open and honest.
Yeah.
So but I'm telling my friend the concept, and I'm like, oh, I got to figure out a title. And this is the thing we're going to be talking about mental health. And, I'm going to be interviewing authors. And so she's like, what about like Ride or Die? A play on words with Ride or Die. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. And I fell in love with it. So the Ride or Die show came into being. So Ride or Die had already had somebody had picked it. They had no content though, at least when I had looked into it. So it was just like, you can make a channel, but then if you had never actually use it, well, it just sits there.
Yeah, they
So
just
that
take the name and don't do anything with it. That's so frustrating.
right. So I added show to the end of it. So it's Write or Die Show. And that way I could keep it because I fell in love with that title.
I just like it because some of the topics that you talk about on your podcast as well is the mental health, the autism, the ADHD, the Tourette's, learning disabilities. Tourette's is one thing that a lot of people don't really touch on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
have you
love
gotten
learning
lots of
about it.
have you
I'm
gotten lots of stories on it?
I think I've actually only had one. Because yeah, people don't talk about it a lot. So I'd love to have more. Again, it was because if we're looking at say autism, maybe it's certain things, they don't classify technically as mental health. They are neurodevelopmental. Um, but I'm not, again, I don't want to pigeonhole so much, especially autism's a big thing in my family. I have it, my kid has it, it's a thing. I don't want to leave it out. And I've expanded even to include people that have chronic illnesses, because again, it's something that is not talked about a lot, especially when, like for me, in my more recent old age years here, the arthritis is kicking in, fibromyalgia is kicking in. So I've had a lot of chronic pain. But when people talk to me or they hear, oh, you were a kickboxer, you did this, and they look at me and I'm still going to work and usually have a smile on my face, like, no, you don't. But I am sitting here after getting 6 needles jammed into my spine today, um, because the pain is so intense on a day to day. I just have decided that I'm not going to let it ruin my life. There are days that I don't, I'm literally laying on the floor. Like, literally, I have just been laying on my kitchen floor in tears because it's close enough to the bathroom if I have to go to the bathroom, because I can't make it all the way back to my room. It's just too far and the pain is too intense. So, those are stories that I'm starting to share more too because it is a lot more prevalent than the eye can see.
Yeah. Well, it's being that open and honest, right?
Exactly.
And as much as people share their stories online and so use social media, right? And they do like everyday activities, cooking and
Oh,
cleaning and all
yes.
that. We're not sharing mental health. We're speaking. Oh, we have mental health. We have mental health, but we don't understand it. We don't
Yes.
understand these diagnoses. We don't understand these labels. We're just being, oh well, you're a strawberry jam, you're a blueberry jam, but we're not understanding those labels. And that's what I see with your platform, with your podcast. That's what I'm doing with Tea Time as well. And many other podcasts out there are starting to say, you know what? Let's start understanding what mental health is instead of
Yes.
just saying mental health. Let's talk about those roller coasters. Let's talk about the turbulence and the excitement and the
Hmm.
joyful, because you can be joyful and still have depression, you know?
Exactly.
Uh, and mental health is something we're not going to ever understand until we start breaking that stigma. And
Mhm.
like chronic illness, people don't see it. Oh, you're fine. You just did this, like you said, with kickboxing,
Yep.
right?
Yep,
Well,
exactly.
we had a question that came in about kickboxing, so I want to get that out since you brought up the kickboxing.
All right.
Uh, it says you've been a champion in kickboxing. How has the discipline and strength from that sport influenced your approach to life challenges?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I would say, so what's popping into my head is determination. When you are training, when you are walking into the ring, when you are face to face with your opponent, it's about determination, not necessarily to win. And some people will beg to differ on that one. Obviously, I love to win, as most do.
But she's a kickboxer, right? She'll kick you.
Right, exactly. But ultimately, I can only have ever controlled what I was doing. I could only control what moves I was throwing, what defense I was doing. I couldn't control how strong the other person is. One of my last fights that I had, the girl looked tiny, but she was extremely strong. And afterwards she goes, "Wow, most people I haven't had too many people actually be able to hold it up against me because she is in a smaller weight class with a very strong demeanor." So that was pretty cool. Um, but again, I don't know who this person is. All I can do is use my determination with the strength that is inside of me, and that's how to approach mental health, to approach everyday life. It's kind of given me that different mindset of, well, they can have their own opinion. It is what I said earlier in the show. They can have their own opinion. When I was younger, oh my gosh, that was everybody needed, you needed to be, everyone else's opinion influenced you so greatly. Now it's like, okay, well, you have your opinion. That's cool. I don't care.
Yeah, you're not my cup of tea. You go sit over there.
Right, exactly. You don't have to like everybody. So it's that
Right?
determination. What will I do? What will I spend my time and energy on? What's going to bring me joy and take my life joyful? So use those words again. And
That's why your tea
what was
is as important as it is, Randy, because our stories tell our tea. And
yes.
you did the same thing with the last tea time, and you were like, "Oh, okay, now it man, oh, this is making sense now."
Yep. I try hard for you.
There you go, right? But it's understanding the words that we're using, right? We're not just throwing words out there. Like
Yes,
I
exactly.
can't use turbulence because that word scares me. Like that scares me. When I see that word, it's like, oh, that's not me.
Right? And that's what's
That's
cool
not
about
me.
picking your own words is that it's meaningful to you and it might be scary to somebody else.
Right? Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I can't tell my guests what teas they are. They have to tell me because I might say, "Well, you know what? You're terrific, Randy." And then you're looking at me, "What the heck's terrific? Like what are you coming with that word terrific?" You know?
Right?
So that's the like that's the way we serve tea. We serve real raw tea here of your tea because I don't know your tea. I get to know your tea just like my listeners get to know your tea.
Exactly. I mean, I do drink my tea black. I don't like to add anything in there, so I'm just raw and honest.
There you go. And I'm actually drinking apple cinnamon tea with honey tonight because my throat is starting to get a little itchy.
Oh, nice. I love blueberry tea. It's my favorite. That's why I drink it black. It doesn't need anything else in it.
That sounds good. I haven't had blueberry tea in a long time.
Oh,
Look, I'm
so
not.
good.
I gotta go get some blueberry tea. See how we talk tea in this house? We talk beverage, but we don't serve a beverage, right? We serve the words, but we bring
Yes.
storytelling together. And that's what I love about bringing you back, Randy, is we always have fun. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure I'm sure you're gonna have a poem within you by the end of this tea time. You're gonna be like, oh,
Probably.
let me jot that down. Let me do this. And she'll be back on tea time with the next book.
Of course.
So, Randy, we have a couple questions that came in as well as the kickboxing one, and I'd like to get them out to you.
Yeah.
As a mother and a grandmother, how do your roles inspire your advocacy work?
Ooh, so big time with the being a mother thing because that's how it all started. The one day, uh, probably 10, 11 years ago, something like that, because again, my youngest is about to be 19. So when she was in elementary school, single digits, um, she was crying, and I think it was around midnight, like it was late, late, late. And she's crying her eyes out and breaking my heart because as a parent, all you want is to comfort them. And she's crying and she goes, "Why am I so different? Why can't people like me?" Because she was being picked on so bad at school and stuff. And that's when I kind of went, huh, I don't share enough. Right? Like, does she think that everything is always hunky dory and perfect and I get along with everyone? Because our kids learn from what we show them. Um, and that is one of the moments that made me go, I'm going to write my books. I'm going to start talking. I'm going to be open and honest. So being a parent really drove me to that advocacy part because before that I was just kind of, yep, I have depression. Shh, don't talk about it. But that was one of those pivotal moments. And then, of course, she's always cool with me sharing her story. I don't share it without permission, um, which is really awesome because it shows me that I've been teaching her through sharing myself that it's okay that you have autism. It's okay that you have depression, that you have anxiety, that you have whatever. So it makes me feel good that she is accepting of herself even on her bad days, and there's a lot of them, that it's okay to be that way. And I'm hoping, so my grandbaby is just 5 right now, just started grade 1. I'm hoping that he'll see that too and be okay with who he is and not have to go through those turbulent times like we did.
Well, as we have younger children that are being diagnosed with mental health, right? we
Yeah.
we got to start having these conversations with our kids and our grandkids, that they don't
Yeah.
have to be perfect, and if they're a little upset, it's okay to be upset.
Yeah.
And if a doctor diagnoses it, there's nothing wrong with you. You're still beautiful. We still love you. Like,
Yeah.
they're just labels. Like, you
Exact. They're labels that could potentially help get the right support,
and
but
that's
they
what we
do
want.
not define.
And that's what we want.
Yes, exactly.
Because unless we start talking openly and honestly, like you say, Randy, we're not going to get the right resources. We're not going to get the right help. We're going to live decades and decades and decades, and maybe in our 40s we're being diagnosed when we should have been diagnosed at the age of 10.
Right, exactly. I got diagnosed with autism when I was 34, something like that, mid 30s. And I went, oh, my whole life makes sense now. It didn't change anything about me other than I felt vindicated about all my actions as a kid. Why did I do the things that I did? Why did, things kind of go down the certain ways? And I went, oh, that makes so much sense now.
And being diagnosed at a late age, Randy, how did that make you feel?
Amazing, actually, because again, it made me look at my life in a different lens, going, okay, I wasn't a bad kid. Because people if I had a meltdown, and I said this to people growing up, and when my aunts and people and others would be like, "Oh, remember that time at McDonald's and you were screaming about the toy or whatever?" And I'm like, "But that wasn't the reason why I was screaming." And I would try to explain to them there were so many people. I didn't understand what was happening. Like, I'm trying to explain it, but they didn't see that. They just saw a spoiled kid. And I'm like, no, that wasn't it.
You were
So
overstimulated.
exactly. But not knowing what that was at the time made people look at me differently. And my mom even would say to the doctor, I need help. I don't know something. I think something's up. And the doctor's like, nope, nope. You just need more discipline. You can't
That was
discipline the
the answer
autism
back
out.
in those days, right? More
Yep,
discipline. The kid is just being a brat. They're just a rebel. They're just spoiled.
exactly.
Instead of taking the time to understand. And even in today's society in 2025, we're getting doctors saying that to us parents as well. Oh, well, just discipline them more, or you're
Yeah,
stop spoiling them, instead of getting to understand. I Me as an adult in my 50s, I get told, get over it. You don't have CPTSD. You don't have this. You don't have that.
right.
And it floors me that the ignorance is still there in today.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations are so important. And that's why
Yeah.
you should share the episodes out.
Absolutely, right? We share them out and share the tea, spill and make a mess. That's the way we make a mess in this house, right? We just keep spilling them. And Randy,
Yep.
I believe you were on Tea Time 3 times so far.
I think so.
And I believe
We
you were
have
at one of
fun.
the reunion shows. Were you at the one of the reunion shows as well?
I might have been. Now I'm trying to think. I was going to, but something came up, I believe.
Yeah. So she's got 3 tea times, guys. So you got to go check it out. So season 3, season 4, no, season 4, 5, and 6, I think is.
Something like that.
She's in there. Just go through it and just you'll find her.
Yeah,
You'll
go
find
find them. Go find them. It's like an adventure.
right. Find a puzzle piece and you'll find it. So
Yeah.
when you hear the word puzzle, Randy,
Mhm.
what comes to mind for you?
Fun. So I love puzzles. So when I hear just the word puzzle, I have so much fun. I love them. But I know there is this giant debate right now of the puzzle piece when it comes to autism. You can't really see it because I have a green screen. Oh,
No, yeah,
wait,
she
wait,
goes
wait.
all the way in. She's disappearing.
Trying. There we
But she
go.
does have a
Sort of.
tattoo with a
I
puzzle
have a
piece.
tattoo with puzzle pieces. Trying to show it off, but because of the needles, I'm stuck in my room, so I had to do the green screen thing today.
Yeah, because she's usually in a purple and a black room.
Yes, yeah, but there was no way I was making it up the stairs. So I like the puzzle piece. I know some people are like, "Oh, the puzzle piece, it means that something is missing from your life," and that's not right. As an autistic person, I like the puzzle piece because having the diagnosis, especially maybe because it was a late diagnosis, and like I said, it made things make sense. It was like finding the missing puzzle piece. Oh, that's what's going on. That's why I have meltdowns. There's the sensory thing, right? So to me, it doesn't mean I'm less than, it doesn't mean I'm missing anything. To me, it just filled in a blank. Um, and my kid is also autistic. She has never once ever said she doesn't like the puzzle piece. Um, I, and for some people, if they don't like it, that's cool. I respect that. Go with I think it's like the infinity symbol with like colors in it now, for those guys. But I personally like the idea that it helps me put together my life, put together answers that I didn't have before.
Yeah. For me, I find that people are breaking the puzzle piece down
Yeah.
because it's just their thing, right? Because we always have those naysayers that always have a negative
Yes.
say on something, right? If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It's just like,
Yeah.
if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But why
Exactly.
ruin it for everybody else that it represents something for them?
Exactly.
You know,
Well,
it's
and that's the thing, like I was saying earlier, they can have their opinion. That's fine. Y'all go sit over there. We don't have to argue about it.
yeah,
I like it. Somebody else doesn't. Cool. That's all that needs to be said, right? Cool.
absolutely right. So, Randy, what advice would you have to give to somebody who's silently struggling with depression or feeling out of place right now?
You're not alone. Absolutely, you're not alone. And it's going to feel like you are because that is how depression keeps you where you're at is you feel like you are the only one experiencing it. You feel like if you were to say something, it makes you less than. Um, and you cannot believe your mind. Actually, I one of the sweaters that I wore it today. It's from my merch store. Yeah, I have a merch store. I feel so special. My kid drew the picture, but anyways, what it says on it is you can't believe everything you think. And it has a picture of this cute dinosaur because she loves dinosaurs with a train in its head.
Oh,
Because you can't believe everything you think. And it just represents that idea that depression's going to lie to you. It's going to lie. It's going to say you're unworthy. It's going to say people don't like you. It's going to say you be quiet or people are going to hate you. You make too many mistakes. You're ugly. You're fat. You're whatever. It's going to try and keep you down. And when you stay quiet, it will keep you down. I'm not saying you have to stand up like like some of us here on Tea Time with Miss Liz. You don't got to do that. But reach out to somebody. Start small. Start with journaling. Tell it to yourself. Tell it to a pet. tell it to a very trusted family or friend. Then maybe eventually you'll have the confidence to go and tell a doctor, tell a therapist, go and seek other help. Um, Baby steps is really what needs to happen because it's scary when you are ready to seek help. It is scary to admit that there's something wrong, um, but it doesn't make you less than.
And Randy, would that be some advice you would give to your younger self? What you just gave to all the
Oh,
listeners?
100% I would tell my younger self that. Yes, if only somebody had told me that way back then.
You know, and that's what it is. We grow up and we start to understand our own stories, and then we're like, "Ooh, now let's talk to that younger kid inside and say, hey, it makes sense
Yes.
now." Like, uh, do you talk to your inner child?
Um, I used to. Actually, in one of my books, whew, it's a while ago I published this one. Um, it's called Embracing Me. I wrote a letter to my younger self in chapter one, and I recommended like that book specifically was all about my journey with depression and coming to terms, exactly what we're talking about right now. So right from chapter one, I said, hey, a great thing you could do is write a letter to your younger self, talk to them. That's exactly what I did. I didn't just write one, I had to write two because I had to talk to myself at different ages.
And you know what? I think that was your first tea time. You came on
I
tea time
think
for
so.
embracing me. See,
I
it's
think
a full
so.
circle. We're coming in a full circle
Yep.
tonight.
Yep.
So, Randy, if you could describe your journey so far in one word, what would it be?
Insanity.
Ooh.
Yes. I think it encompasses everything. It encompasses the ups, the downs, the sideways. Like it just is everything. Um, I have no problem calling myself crazy at times. I don't find that it means anything bad at all. I appreciate that some people really find a negative connotation with that. I find it helps me to just pull in all the different aspects of who I am and be okay with it. So I think my life has been insanity.
And it's okay to say those words, right? Because
Yeah,
they're not a negative reflect on ourselves. It's
no,
what describes us and our journey. I use the word broken quite often when I describe my story, right? And people are like,
yes,
don't use the word broken. That's not a strong word. It is for me.
right, exactly. And when you haven't walked in someone's shoes, you don't know what word describes them. And for me, insanity, I mean, the definition of insane is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Well, what did I do for probably 20 years? Having depression. I shoved it down, hoping it would just go away. Obviously, it wasn't going to, but I
Yeah.
kept trying.
And that was insanity until you found out what it was, and it's still insane because even knowing now and being diagnosed, you still have those days where you're just like, what in the heck is going on here?
Exactly, exactly.
So Randy, is there a song that you turn to lift your spirits up when you're depressed, like when you're down? And I don't mean depressed like sad, like depression, we
Oh,
can be
I
happy
know
and
what you
still turn
mean.
to music, right? So
I know what you mean. Um, so I mean, I think I go through different phases. Right now, right now, my song that I will play on repeat. It's actually from the new cartoon, the K-pop Demon Hunters.
oh my
I
god,
love
my granddaughter watches that.
it's so good. The music is so good. I love the oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name. The very last song, the This Is What It Sounds Like. Oh, I love that song so much. I will play it on repeat. It has so much meaning and power in it. If you have not heard it or you haven't watched that movie, just go watch it. It's so good.
I gotta check it out because my granddaughter's always talking about it, and I'm just like, what is she watching?
Oh, it's so good. My grandson watched it, and now I'm always like, let's watch it again. It's so good.
When I first heard it, I was like, I asked my daughter, I said, what are you guys watching with her? And then
Yeah.
they're like, Grandma, it's not that bad. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to check it out. So now
Yeah.
you're telling me to check it out. I got to check it
So
out.
good. I am obsessed with it right now.
So we have a question here: kickboxing or writing? What feels more empowering to you?
Mm. That is a hard one to answer. They both have their like different strengths and different outlets. I will say, based on an overarching looking at all aspects, writing. Because not only is it empowering for me, but I can hopefully inspire and empower others. So it's going to be more powerful.
Well, that's an interesting answer and an interesting question. Thank you for asking that question.
That was a really thought-provoking one. I had a hard time with that one.
And another one just came in. Favorite way to recharge after a tough day?
Oh, puppies. I have some puppies. I have some kitties, loving on them. And I have a hot tub, so that is a huge help.
Always got to have a hot tub.
Oh, I love it. It has this one seat where like you lay down and so it gets like your back, but it gets your legs and your feet. Oh, it's so good.
A hot tub sounds good about now. I got the chills in me. I don't know. After my
Mm.
injections for my diabetes, I always get these chills, and instead of hot flashes, I get
Oh.
cold flashes. So I'm just like,
Oh.
and everybody's like, "Why you got a big sweater on? It's summertime." I'm just like, "I'm cold."
Right? Exactly. Yeah. No hot tub for me for 3 days. It's so sad.
Oh, so you can't do the hot tub when you're doing the needles.
No, because so what happens with them is they go straight in between your vertebrae into your
Okay.
nerves because they're burning the nerves. So you have to stay out of soaking in like a hot tub or a pool for 3 days. Oh, it's awful.
Wow.
But I had a nice big bath yesterday, so it'll get me through.
So are you a bubble girl, bath, or shower girl?
Well, shower in the morning, getting ready for work and whatnot. But I love a nice soak. That's why I love the hot tub, but I also like bubble baths.
What
Hot
is
tubs
it?
are great when you're feeling the pain, the sore, and you want to sit and relax. Like if I'm chatting with my husband, I don't want him in the tub with me, but a hot tub.
Hot tub for that, and bubbles for
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. And we just finished a renovation in the bathroom because the floor was rotting, which is horrible. But now I have a giant deep soaker tub. Oh, it's so nice.
Favorite bubble bath?
I love bath bombs that have the bubble bath part with them too. So my mom got me them for Christmas. It's like the bath bomb, like it normally does, but it has like a other part. It's not liquid. It's like I don't even know. Anyways, and it turns
Like a
into
gel?
bubbles. Yeah, and it turns into bubbles. So you get the bath bomb, you get the bubbles. It's the best of both worlds.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Yes,
Right?
we are talking about bubbles and bats and all that stuff on tea time.
It's the joyful word. Come on.
Right. Well, that's where the joyful comes in. And we still need the exciting part. Where's the exciting part?
Oh, that's just everything.
That's everything all wrapped up in one, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, because Randy, you did mention you have a merch store and that as well, you in your website and all that. So people, if they
Yes.
wanted to reach out to you, they could go to the website. So do you want to just read out the website, spell it out for
Yeah.
the listeners?
Yes, it's rbwriting.ca because I'm in Canada, so .ca.
And Randy, do you have any books on the go that are coming out besides the one that we talked about tonight?
So I don't have any books, but I am working on turning Goodbye Too Soon, which we've talked about on the show,
Yes.
into a script, and I am hoping to make a movie out of it.
Well, look at that. She keeps all the good stuff. That's the exciting part right at the end of tea time. Like, oh my goodness.
Right, so I am working on that. It's a slow process because that book is very emotional to begin with, because that one's about my brother's death. But yeah, working on that. My friend is my I don't know what her title would be in the credits, but she's helping with all the research side of things, so we can make sure to get all the cross all our T's, dot all our I's, that kind of thing.
So talk a little bit about that book for the listeners that are just listening for the
Yes.
first time.
Yeah. So go and watch the other episode, but it's called Goodbye Too Soon. And it's about my brother's death by drug overdose. And it takes the reader through when I get the phone call. I was the one that had to tell my mom. And then kind of it also talks about what drug addiction is because it is a mental illness. It goes into things like coping strategies for grieving, the DSM-5 for what addiction is. But then it also talks about how people with addiction are people with families and who they are. And then it goes through helping my mom plan the funeral, what the funeral was like, cleaning out his room, and it really gives that perspective from a family member losing somebody to drugs.
And did your brother suffer from mental health as well?
Well, I don't think he was ever fully diagnosed other than with addiction, but I definitely he suffered from panic attacks, so I know there was anxiety and stuff there, but again, never went for the label, but definitely know it was there because I saw him have panic attacks.
Yeah.
And probably some PTSD. My dad was not, so my dad is my dad, not his dad. And he was not the nicest person to my brother.
And this is why we have to have open heart conversations like this, right? And I am so proud of you. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I've known you, what, it's 3-4 years now. And
I
look at
think so.
you. Like, and we got to get a couple of your books out there tonight on Tea Time.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to just pop up your latest book so people can see it again. For all the listeners out there, can you just do a really quick oversight about the book again? And
yes. So there we go. I'll point that way. So Thoughts of a Warrior. It's a book of poetry. It is every poem is with a nature picture that I really thought hard about how they went together. So it's not just random ones. I feel like they all go together. And it's about coming through the other side of depression. You have your good days, you have your bad days, but things are looking up in the world.
You see, and things do look up because we've had you a couple of times, and look at what's come in. Like you're
Yes.
working on a screenwrite for that book, and
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Like I just want to give you a big hug and say congratulations. Let me know when that comes out because I want to check that out.
Oh, for sure. Once the script is done, well, I do have a Facebook and Instagram that you could follow for updates and stuff. It's just Goodbye Too Soon, the movie. And follow along with that for updates because as we get closer to having the script finished, we're going to be doing a Kickstarter for the funds to get going on it and hopefully, yeah, figure out our whole filming. And I'm very, very excited. When I was little, I was going to be a famous actor. So, making my own movie, that's pretty darn close.
And it's amazing. Like you got to check out her books and her merchandise, and check out the website. Randy, before we wrap up, give me one moment in your life that truly made a difference to you as a person.
There are so many. You know what? I'm going to say one that I don't think I've ever said before because that makes it more fun. When I was working as an employment counselor, so my office shared the break room with the OW workers. So those are like the social workers. And there was this one social worker. She was fantastic. We clicked. We were, awesome. I went off on a mental health leave. I came back. She was on a mental health leave. We had never exchanged phone numbers before. I'm like, oh no, oh no. Then she came back. I gave her a hug. And I was like, oh, I don't know if you're a hug person, but I don't care. I missed you so much. And she goes, I missed you too. So we exchanged phone numbers, and she has now been my best friend for I don't know, 10 years now or something, but it was so close to never having actually been able to connect because we were both on leaves and stuff. So, you know what, that's a pretty pivotal moment because she is fantastic. And if you ever connect with somebody like that, don't miss the opportunity to make a good friend because we almost did.
Well, that's amazing. And I like that you always share something different on Tea Time because people then have to listen to all of your Tea Times.
Right, exactly. If I keep saying the same examples, I mean, that's just going to be boring. I have so many. Don't you worry, I won't run out.
Yeah, there you go. So any new titles or keynote little secrets you're writing on a piece of paper that you're gonna do like in a year so I can have you back again?
Not right now, and that's probably more because I'm in my bed than anything else.
She's in her bed. There's the next one.
Right, exactly, in my bed. Actually, that could work because um, but yeah, the focus is being on that script right now because it's probably going to take me some time to get through that since it is a brand new endeavor.
See, you just never know where life takes you. Like one year,
Right?
amazing things can happen, you know. Uh, so, Randy, what message would you like to leave everybody that's listening tonight besides your quote?
I know. I'm like, oh, I always use that, but we've already talked about that. Let's see. I will say, find your inner power, even when life is turbulent, because there are exciting things that will happen for you if you find your inner joyfulness. I wrapped all the words up in there for you.
There you go. See, this is how she does it. She's a pro. She knows how tea time rolls. So I just want to give a shout out to you, Randy. Some of the things that people can find in your books, you have poetry, nonfiction, a little scared. I want to get a little scared in before we get out of here. Children's books, reading sound series, social stories, notebooks. She's got it all, guys. But I want to talk about that a little scared because I was just like, what the heck is a little scared?
So it is a collection of short, scary stories.
Okay.
I love horror so much. And as you know, I write so much about mental health that it gets heavy. So sometimes I want to talk about monsters that are completely make believe.
So what's the craziest monster in that book?
You know what? The funniest thing I'm going to say the craziest monster is a child.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Children can be scary at times.
Oh, children are very scary.
And what message do you have for any of the parents out there who are suffering in silence and don't know how to reach out for help?
I'm going to say it's going to be the same as before. Start small, but remember that you're not by yourself. Seek help when you're ready, obviously, because if you're not ready, it's not going to work. But know that you are not alone and you are absolutely not broken. Maybe you're broken at the moment, but you are not broken forever.
And we're going to close up this tea time with your word that you gave me, quirky. Why quirky?
Have you met me?
I haven't in person, but I have through screen a couple of times.
Right? I feel like that comes through. I feel like there is nothing more needed said about that.
Right? When she gave me the word quirky, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
But we
Then you
haven't
meet
we
me and you're
haven't met
like,
in person.
oh.
What in Canada?
I'm in Ontario.
Yeah, and I'm in Ontario, so maybe
I
we got to get
know.
our two quirky teas
But
together.
what part of Ontario are you in? I mean, it's a pretty big spot.
I'm in Cornwall, up by Montreal and Ottawa.
Oh, okay, so you're like 6 hours away.
Oh, we're not that far
'Cause
away. We got
I'm
to.
by Niagara Falls.
Oh well, I go there quite often, so maybe we need to get
Then
together
when
and.
you come down here, because I definitely don't go up that way too often. Oh,
He's a
I don't know.
homebody.
Well, I mean, going that way just gets colder.
Oh, well, you know what? My hometown is Hearst, Ontario, and that's like the north, like up north, and they get like -50.
Oh.
It's cold. That's why I moved up. Oh no, over here it's a little warmer,
Ah, yeah, no, down here is even more warm.
right? Well, we'll have to get together. We'll have to have a quirky tea together.
I love it. We'll have some blueberry tea. There are some really cute spots to have tea down here.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will do that. Well, thank you so much, Randy, for joining me and bringing, the turbulence. That word scares me. I don't know why, but it scares me. It's almost like bungee jumping, I think. Like, I couldn't see myself doing that. Like,
Well, don't come live my life then.
well, you're a kickboxer. You probably do bungee jumping too while you're at it.
Oh, no, that scares me way too much.
That's where that real big roller coaster comes in, right? So anybody who wants to
Exactly.
bungee jump out there, like, let us know. Like, put it in the comments or reach out to Miss Liz and let me know if you bungee jump. Maybe that's something I need to have on tea time is bungee jumping.
There you go. It
Right?
won't be me.
There we go. So I'm just going to wrap up with a closing summary, and then I will see everybody next week, same time, same place, with 4 new tea times on Tuesday and on Thursday. So in the afternoon and in the evening, that's how Miss Liz rolls. And if you'd like to see any of the past tea times, just go to Miss Liz's Tea Times with an S on YouTube. And if you're looking on Spotify, it's Tea Time with Miss Liz. I like to keep you guys on your toes and make you look a little bit. So tonight's tea time with Randy Lee Boslav has been a moving and uplifting reminder that even in life's toughest battles, we have the power to embrace strength, live authentically, and share our truths. Randy Lee's story encourages us to see vulnerability, I can't say the word, as courage, and to walk forward knowing that we are not defined by our struggles, but by how we rise above them. Thank you, Randy, for bringing your warrior spirit to the tea time table and reminding us all that resilience can light the path towards healing and empowerment. Thank you guys all for tuning in to Tea Time, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.